Hello everyone, welcome to January 2025 predictions for all signs using Vedic astrology. We're also looking at the daily ups and downs, hopefully giving you a good way to plan the month ahead. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below, and if the video is helpful for you as well, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Share it around as well. Don't forget to check out the full predictions for 2025 for your sign. The link is below. Let's go. How to use the readings from your Vedic moon and ascendant sign, sidereal horoscope, not tropical Western. Check the link below to a website, Devaguru. Put in your birthday to bring up your moon and ascendant. One special factor, though, in these readings. That is, I'm including a daily tracker, which should be read, please note, from the moon sign only in your horoscope. What's happening is I'm showing you when the moon is aspecting your moon in a favorable way, giving you those up days, smoother days, and those more difficult, let's say, challenging days. I'm giving you that information. Please note one thing, not every day will be included in the whole month because the moon changes signs and that's too complicated to put in. So let me know. Is this format working for you? Put the comments below and we shall go forward for there. I hope you find this a very helpful addition, everyone. Let's look at the key astrological events quickly. The full moon happens in Gemini on the 13th of January and the sun moves into Capricorn sign on the 15th of Jan. Mangala is retrograde and he's going back into Gemini on the 21st of Jan. The big event, Venus conjunct Shani in Aquarius on the 18th and 19th of January. And the new moon happens on the 29th of January in the sign of Capricorn. For Aries moon and Aries ascendant both, the full moon is going to happen in the third house of your chart. Don't worry, Mangala isn't there, thank goodness, because it happens on the 13th of January. 13th of Jan, day or so before, emotional for you. Talking to siblings, neighbors, perhaps information comes that you did not know about before. Maybe conversations students have with their teachers, lecturers, things are changing on the course, and father may be having issues as well. But these conversations are good. This full moon is a favorable thing. Aries moon ascendant pushes you forward, gives you information which gives you a definite plan for the future. And this gives you, Aries moon and ascendant, the most successful time of this month. After the 15th, after the middle of the month, the sun's going into your 10th house. This is favorable. Finally, you can get job interview. You can get success in your job, enterprise, business, sales, everything gets better. You get things done. You're feeling far more focused and things go your way after the 15th of January. Note the date carefully. It's always a powerful time for you when the sun is in 10th house, and definitely, of course, new moon happens 29th. So the whole new beginning, career-wise, job-wise, with your ambitions, everything is going your way from the 29th particularly, but you will notice a difference from the 15th. Go for it. You can make your plans become realized. It's a very favorable time for Aries moon and ascendant. And all of this go-getter attitude is definitely emphasized because Mangala is your Lord Aries, and from the 21st of this month he is back in your third house. Great placement, retrograde, super strong. You'll be saying it like it is. Yes, from this date you may get into some contention with your siblings in your educational field. You'll be traveling around a lot, moving around a lot, but it's all purposeful. Mangala retrograde, something you did not complete, you will complete from the 21st of Jan. To get more detail about this Mars third house favorable transit, check the video on my channel, Mangala retrograde. The link is below. Then on the 18th and 19th of Jan, Shani and Venus conjunct. Venus being your 7th lord, conjuncting Saturn, 10th lord, of course, in the 11th house. His own house is a big moment in your intimate personal relationships. For some of you, it's decision time. What ambitions do you have in common? Can you sort out difficulties? You can. Venus, Saturn in the 11th house is favorable. This is a very favorable conjunction for you, but you have to listen to others. You're feeling very hot-headed this time. Don't forget it's near to that full moon. And you've got to compromise, though, to make relationship situations work. But apart from relationships, Venus Saturn in the 11th house shows a new opening. This is an opening for more wages, profits, business. Wow, this is really favorable. But Venus Saturn together means you have to get serious. You have to cut back in some business factor. Venus is your 7th lord of business. He's with Saturn. Some business factor, marketplace is being curtailed, but if you go with the new openings coming to you, fantastic profit. So Venus Saturn is a real thumbs up for business people. And definitely, finally, Venus Saturn shows a serious conversation or serious situation in a friend's life, and you are going to be there to help them. Next, a daily tracker of the go-to days for you and the challenging days from the moon. So Aries moon sign only, D1 moon, birth chart, Rasi moon only. These are the go-to days when you are in harmony with the moon's placement. These are the more challenging days when you are not. Mark them carefully in your diaries. For Taurus moon and Taurus ascendant both, wow, this full moon is going to be very important to you. Don't forget, moon is your co-lord from Taurus. Actually, yes, and this full moon happens in the 2nd house of your chart, Gemini. Don't worry, Mars isn't there because it happens on the 13th. This is later. So this full moon means that there are going to be emotional conversations about business with your family, but they're going to be good for you. They're going to give you information. Some of you get new information about investments, wills, legacies, inheritance. All of this information you've been waiting for some time. So you can finally move on with your investments and stock market deals, all of it favorably because you get good advice. So take note of what people say to you. Listen to them. Sometimes they have information which you need. So it's a wrapping up time in your financial situation. But things are going to get a little bit chaotic though after the 21st in regard to finances. That's why you should take note of that opportunity full moon, because when Mangala goes retrograde back into your, he was here, he goes backwards this way, of course, into your 2nd house from your 3rd house, you've got to deal with situations. There is something about your financial situation that really needs dealing with, and Mars retrograde will push you to make those final decisions. This may be, as I say, about wills, legacies, stock market, investments. It's something about your financial security that is not sorted. There are loose ends, Taurus, and you're going to have to tie them up from the 21st. But you're going to be pushed into it because Mangala is your 7th house lord. And of course, he is retrograde. So to see what this means for you after the 21st of Jan, Mangala powerfully retrograde for you in the 2nd house of money matters business, check the video on my channel, Mars retrograde. The link is below. Another major shift this month is that the sun is going from the 8th house of your chart. That's been a little bit intense, let's face it, around New Year, into the 9th house. Now, sun in the 9th house is a bit tricky as well. Better from ascendant Taurus than from moon sign, certainly. And this is going to give you difficult conversations with mentors, teachers, if you are a student. If you are a student studying from the 15th onwards, you've got to tread very, very carefully dealing with situations on your learning course. Keep a low profile, my advice. Don't get into contention because things are going to swiftly change from the 29th. That new moon happening for all students on the 29th of January is a whole new beginning on the course. Finally, things fall into place. So even though you feel stressed, stick with it. It's going to actually work out far more smoother than you could ever believe. And this new moon happening, Sun Moon with Mercury on the 29th, is good for business people. It's good for education students, but also business people, for sales, foreign land sales, all of these things. If you are traveling from the 29th, it's going to be very favorable time for that as well. The big moment in the month, of course, is going to come when Venus, your Lord as well, and Shani, your Yoga Karaka planet, conjunct in the 10th house of your chart. Venus-Saturn conjunction on the 18th, 19th of January. So actually this month, January, all of the month, because Venus-Saturn are in same sign, but particularly 18th, 19th, a big decision is made about career, job, enterprise, business, and even some of you home matters, because Venus-Saturn aspect 4th house, that is going to set you off on a whole new direction. What it means is that you're taking on more work, but you're focusing on it now. Venus-Saturn shows constriction of the work environment. Something has to give. You've been too spread out with your energies. Venus, your Lord with Saturn, it's time to accept limitations, time to structure things. Taurus, you're going to love this so much. So some of you may leave a job, change a job, go into a new department, or something changes in the whole work environment. Perhaps there's a new boss, superior. Saturn is your 9th lord, could be. But whatever it is, you are structuring, you are honing down, you are feeling more focused. So this is a new enterprise. Perhaps some of you are continuing on with the same job enterprise, but doing it in a much more structured way. Something has to go, but what you pick up now, what you start, will have your full focus, and this will give you ultimate success. Now for Taurus moon sign only, moon in your D1 chart only, here are the go-to dates and the more challenging dates for the whole of January. These days, the moon is in a good harmonious situation with your moon, Taurus. And these are the dates the moon is not harmonizing with the moon. These dates are easier, more flowing. These are a little more challenging. Take a note of the dates. For Gemini moon and Gemini ascendant both, the full moon is happening in Gemini this month on the 11th, actually the 11th of January. Mangala won't be there until later. This is favorable. So the full focus is on you, your decisions, your communications. This can be a very important moment. So the 11th is a very important date, 10th, 11th, 12th in your intimate relationships. Conversations happen with your partner, perhaps business partner, some of you that are revealing. Things are said that you had no idea about, but even though it is emotional, you will be glad you are having these really important conversations. In fact, it's a crucial time for your relationships because as well as this, the sun moves from your 7th house into your 8th house on the 15th. Now, sun is not so good, actually, 7th house or the 8th house, but this time he's going to be part of a new moon with your Lord Mercury on the 29th. So this end of January is a most important time for intimate personal relationships. You're going to make some big decision about finances with your spouse, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend. Some of you even may say, no, this relationship can't work anymore. Most of you, though, make compromises, make big changes. Spouse as well could be having issues because Guru is the Lord of your spouse, Gemini, and Guru is retrograde in the 12th house. So spouse may be having sickness, illness. It is a bit of a stressful time, the end of January 25. And the new moon happening with your Lord involved in the 8th house means you're going to make a complete break with the past. Some of you, this involves home situation because Mercury is the Lord of you, but also 4th house. So some domestic changes, transformations start to happen from the 29th of January. And these continue into February, by the way. So certainly at the end of the month, but even before, serious decisions are beginning to be formed around finances, stock market, investments, family matters, wills, legacies, all of these things. You've got to sort them out now. The time has come. Watch out for the energy burst though, Gemini. You've needed this, definitely. So many serious decisions to make right. But guess what? Mongol is coming retrograde back into your sign after the 21st of January. That's a long-term transit. Mongol coming back into your sign, a few months to go. You should definitely check the video below here, which is about Mars transit Gemini, to give you all of the more details about Mars's retrograde transit in Cancer Gemini. As I say, the link is below. Because Mars is going to aspect K2 4th house, domestic changes, mother could be having issues, home situation becomes a little bit hyper and you are determined to take control of it. Take it easy though. Yes, you've got all the energy behind you, but you don't want to burn yourself out. As I say, check the video. And of course, Shani and Venus will conjunct, the big conjunction of this month, in the 9th house of your chart. This is on the 18th, 19th January 25. This is a key date for students. Any of you on any educational course, part-time, full-time, any studying, this is a seminal change around time. You'll be getting serious about study. That's the thing. You'll be learning things about the study course you didn't know before. You'll be taking on more responsibility than you actually wanted to take on. That's okay. It was meant to be. Why? Because Venus is a lord of your 5th house education. In the 9th house with Saturn, students are going to become very serious, very committed to their course. You may feel a bit constrained, like, oh no, this is too much work. I don't want to take on all of this. Do it. It's going to be good long term. Have no fear. If you have children or you are thinking of expanding family, it's a very seminal date. Venus conjunct Saturn, especially in a female chart. 9th house can actually indicate pregnancy. So you need to take a note of that. Of course, Venus represents love relationships. For you, he represents 5th house, romance, attraction, definitely. So there's an important decision to be made in regard to romantic relationships. Or you can meet somebody new, perhaps, in an educational setting or even while you are traveling. It's quite a deep connection, though, Venus with Shani, because Venus is your 12th house lord, going 10 houses away to this 9th house. There is some spiritual factor here. Some of you meet a new guru, someone who is going to give you favorable teachings, or you connect to a very deep philosophical system as well during this month, January 25. From Gemini moon sign only in your D1 birth chart, these are the go days when the moon is transiting in a favorable aspect to the moon in your chart. And these are the more challenging dates when things don't flow quite so easily. Take a note of these, not from Ascendant, don't forget, just from the moon in your birth chart. For Cancer moon, Cancer ascendant, both the full moon on the 13th of Jan happens in the 12th house of your chart. Mars is not there though, not at that time. So you have a little bit of quiet time to yourself, or you get super anxious about the future and you just want to spend time on your own thinking about big decisions. This is the right way forward. You get a little bit sensitive when this full moon happens in the 12th house of your chart. But the full moon happening in your house of sleep around 12, 13, 14, you can have restless nights, a bit of insomnia, some of you, but revealing dreams. Intuition is strong. Take a note of your dreams. They could actually give you guidance on this full moon phase in January 25. And de-stressing becomes important because health could become difficult when the sun goes from your 6th house, where it's been very favorable, into the 7th house of your chart. And this happens on the 15th of January. So from the 15th onwards, your energy is becoming a little bit strained. You're finding it difficult dealing with spouse, partner, business, everything. You're feeling as though you've no time to yourself from the 15th of January. You become a little less introverted after 29th, when the new moon with the sun, the moon and Buddha, Mercury conjunct in your 7th house. You're having conversations with your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, spouse, business partner, lots of people that are becoming beneficial to you. Don't forget Jupiter aspects full on this new moon. Suddenly people are there supporting you and you are feeling much more confident after 29th of January. The point is, I would say, Cancer, Moon and Ascendant, you're having second thoughts. You have this a lot, and you're going to definitely have this after the middle of the month. You're having second thoughts about business concerns, financial concerns, and health issues as well, because Mangala's going from your sign, where he's been exceptionally strong actually, retrograde into the 12th house of your chart after the 21st of January 25. Check the video on my channel, Mars Retrograde. The link is below because for you it's the most important phase. When this Mangala goes into your 12th house, you will make the most important decisions you've made for some time. It can affect health issues. Some of you have to make a major health intervention, but it's going to be so successful for you. Some of you get travel opportunities, distant shore opportunities, even property matters take a big turn because Mars represents those. So check the video on my channel, Mars Retrograde, to understand this long-term transit beginning on the 21st of January. The big conjunction of Venus and Saturn happens in the 8th house of your chart. This is, as I say, a very important decision time for Cancer, Moon, Ascendant. It's very important for business people because Saturn is the lord of your business house and he's gone into the 8th house with Venus. Some of you have to cut down a whole business department, sector of trade, change it around, do it, don't delay anymore. You'll definitely get good advice for this. Some of you leave a job, change a job, because Saturn aspects 10th house and Venus here shows you have to make these really important changes. Some of you get incredible investment opportunities, stock market opportunities, business opportunities also, because Venus is the lord of your 11th house gain. But it's about cutting things back and honing in on a focused area. Definitely get advice. That's the key to these important business or financial decisions. And of course, Saturn is your partnership lord, spouse, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend. Big decisions have to be made about love, relationships, intimacy, ongoing situations between you come to a crunch point on the 18th, 19th of January. As I say, open communication. Don't become secretive because Mangala going into this 12th house tends to push you backwards. Keep open communication there. That's the key. Final point, of course, Venus is the lord of your 4th house, property. Some of you inherit property, or there is some conclusion to some inheritance or property sales deal, something like this, which is actually good. Sometimes you have to let go of some domestic situation. Some of you have to not have things exactly as you would like to, but concluding property deals now could be actually favorable for you. Don't let these things hang on any longer. Daily tracker for the Cancer Moon only. Cancer Moon in your D1 birth chart. These are the go days for you when things go more smoothly because the moon actually aspects natal moon by a good angle. These are the more generally challenging days. Take a note of these for your diary. For Leo moon, Leo ascendant, the full moon happens on the 13th day of January in the 11th house of your chart. Mars won't be there then, it's on the 13th, and this is a very, very favorable full moon for all Leos. Why is that? Because it opens up conversations about various areas which you've needed to have, particularly friendship network circles, students, about the cause. With your children, you've been having issues. Now you're going to learn something about the situation that you didn't know before. If you have a romantic relationship, it's a most important turning point, this full moon on the 13th of January. You have to listen to your girlfriend, boyfriend, romantic interest, because they've got something interesting to tell you. But it's going to cement the relationship. Important decisions about all relationships, by the way, are on the cards in this January 2025 for Leo moon and ascendant. And we'll come back to talk about relationships in a minute. Right now, let's note the transit of your Lord, the Sun. After the middle of the month, in fact, the 15th of Jan, underline that date, your Lord is going into the 6th house. This is wonderful, particularly from moon sign, but from ascendant helpful as well. The Sun in the 6th house, he will defeat all of your enemies. If you have litigation, end of January, you will sort it out. If you have difficulties in your workplace, stress, even health issues, you're going to get the power of the Sun to bring light, clarity, and actual resolution to all of these difficulties. And the new moon on the 29th starts a whole new health regime. Many of you get a new consultation, Mercury then, or sometime after that, and you get new information so that February starts you on a brand new health routine, which is going to be most helpful to you. And the new moon at the end of the month puts an end to so much worry, anxiety, enmity as well in the workplace. Things sort out magnificently after 29th, and the whole workplace stress situation calms down. In fact, the period between the 15th of Jan and the middle of Feb is fantastic for job interviews, success, getting on top of all the competition. Make the most of this favorable factor. Another factor giving you more income, success, job interview, getting on top of the competition is Mangala. After the 21st, you see, he's gone retrograde into the 11th house of gain. This is really favorable for you. Check the video on my channel, Mars retrograde. The link is below to learn more. This is a long-term transit and so favorable for Leo moon and ascendant. The conjunction of Venus and Saturn is happening on the 18th, 19th, but all of this month you'll be thinking about big relationship switch-arounds, changes. You've got to listen to your partner though. Saturn is the lord of your 6th house, 7th house. It's a big moment. Middle of January, speaking to your partner, making a do or die decision about relationship situation. It's a certainly very serious relationship factor. Some of you may decide that this relationship can't work anymore, but still Venus gives you the opportunity to compromise, make it work if you desire to. That's the thing. If you have any business, enterprise, self-employment, marketplace changes now, you've got to hone down, maybe cut back on some business enterprise, but it will be more profitable long term when you do this. Whatever you do, don't get into quarrels. Venus is the lord of your 3rd house, confrontation. You could get into a confrontation with a business partner, with your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend. Avoid this at all costs. Cooperation, smooth things over, and you feel so much happier in the middle of January 2025. The daily tracker from the Leo moon only, Leo moon in your D1 birth chart. These are the go days for you when things are easier because the moon transits in a good relation to your natal moon. And these are the more challenging dates when things are not so smooth. Take a note of these dates very carefully. The Virgo moon and ascendant, the full moon happens on the 13th of January. This crosses on the 4th house, 10th house axis, but it happens in the 10th house of your career and status. This gives you clarity about the home situation, work situation, balance between the two, and this is useful information for you. On the 15th of Jan, the Sun transits into your 5th house. For students, it's a very important decision time about education. You get a bit stressed on the course to begin with, but Guru aspects this Sun transit, so it'll be favorable for all educational matters, particularly after 29th. There's a big educational decision that works out very favorable for Virgo moon and ascendant. If you have children, could be some stresses with them at the beginning of the month or middle of the month. Particularly, it becomes very, very stressful when the Sun goes into this house. To begin with, though, don't fear. All of these issues clarify at the new moon. Your Lord Mercury gets involved. So after 29th of Jan, you deal with these difficult issues with your kids. If you are seeking to start a family, it's fantastic. After the new moon, Guru's aspect could definitely be starting a family or pregnancy, definitely in a female horoscope. But the biggest changes for many of you happen in your career because Mongol has gone back into your 10th house from the 21st. Changes in the work environment happen. Big changes at the end of January 25. It's a long-term transit, though, happening on 21st, but continuing for a month or two. Check the video on my channel, Mars Retrograde, to see how this is going to spark off a whole new career phase for you. The link is below. The Venus-Saturn conjunction happens in the 6th house of your chart, 18th, 19th of Jan. This brings to a head long-term health issues. Now you get the right information. Now, middle of Jan, you get that consultation you've needed so long. As your 9th house lord advises, you get good health advice. Venus and Saturn aspect the hospital house. Some of you even have to go there, but this is fine. Saturn is so well placed here. You can get rid of some long-standing health issue now. Sort it out. Go for these interventions. It's going to be very, very helpful for you. And Venus rules expenses. Venus and Saturn 6th house, you have to curtail expenses or you have to deal with extra unexpected ones, some of you. Venus, Saturn, there could be issues with your pets as well, but sort them out swiftly. Everything will be fine. Don't forget, Saturn is super strong, dealing with all of these issues in the 6th house of your chart. For Virgo moon, these are the daily tracker dates, the dates when things go much more smoothly for you because the moon is transiting in a good relation to your natal moon in Virgo. And the challenging days when things are not so smooth for you, they are shown here. Take a note of these dates carefully. For Libra moon, Libra ascendant both. The full moon happens on the 13th of January. It happens in your 9th house. Mongol won't be there then, so this helps tremendously. You're going to get full clarity about decisions, about education, students, and conversations with your siblings. Neighbors bring up unexpected factors. It's a bit emotional, but it's going to be something you've needed to hear. The 9th house represents people who advise us, all sorts. Financial advisors, career advisors, health advisors, clinicians, accountants, anybody who helps you to see things more clearly. They're going to give you good insight, definitely. So keep mind open. You are always open to advice, Libra. You're a very balanced person. Normally, father, some of you may be having a few issues around this time occasionally. In fact, January divides into two halves clearly for Libra sign. At the beginning of the month up to 15th, Sun is in 3rd house. Excellent. You've got communication skill. You get so many problems sorted. Even money matters improve. After that date, Sun in the 4th house, it gets a little more stressful. So take a note of this divide. The stress comes into the 4th house, domestic issues, home issues, property issues, all of these things give you a few headaches after the 15th, but on the 29th, there's a whole new way forward with these problems because Mercury conjunct Sun and Moon, new moon. So going forward into February, many of these domestic stresses just resolve themselves. Big moment, 21st of Jan, Mangala, 7th house Lord goes back into your 9th house retrograde. Now, students, you're going to really feel this. All of the stress comes back onto the education course, things you thought you understood. Now you think, I don't know any of this stuff anymore. Don't get into a fright about it. Mangala aspects K2, 12th house. It's a fantastic time to go over study, revise study, get deep inside, do not fear. But this Mangala affects everybody, student or not. If you are a business person, foreign trade, it gets a bit tricky. Some iffy moments occur. There's some contention with your business partner. It's a bit stressful because you become unsure about future plans. And this is everybody. Do not fear. Check the video on my channel, Mars Retrograde. The link is below. This is a long-term transit. The big factor, of course, of the month is that your Lord Venus, Shukra, is conjunct to Saturn. 18th, 19th, exact conjunction, January 25. This affects students again because it's in the 5th house. There is need for concentration, honing down, and you will get good success. It's up to you. You need discipline in your studies. It has been lacking before. What about everybody else? Well, your Lord is a friend to Saturn, but this is in the 5th house. So it's about children first and foremost. Some of you have to make a big decision about one child who is having difficulty, but Venus helps here. You get clarity, better understanding with one particular child who has been causing you some stress. There has definitely been stress if you have children because of Saturn's placement, 5th house. If you are involved in any romantic connection or you are seeking romantic connection, you make a big change about who you are looking for. You get serious about having more patience here, waiting for the right time. You get more peaceful about romantic matters. But if you have a romantic relationship, you will definitely want to talk to this partner because you want a serious long-term prospect now. So serious conversations with romantic partners definitely happen in the middle of the month in particular, but throughout January. Daily tracker for the moon in Libra in your D1 chart. If you have the moon in Libra, these are the go days for you when things are easier because basically the moon is in a good aspect to your Libra moon in your chart. These are the more challenging dates for you. Take a note of these dates carefully. For Scorpio moon and ascendant, the full moon happens in the 8th house of your chart in Gemini. Don't worry, thank goodness Mangala is not there on the 13th. So this is a very clarifying moment about family affairs, financial information, family information conversations happening, which are emotional, but information which you've needed to hear near to the 13th of Jan 25. But the financial stress and worry lessens in your life when the sun goes from the 2nd house into the 3rd house on the 15th of Jan, particularly from the moon. But all Scorpios get a much more freeing up feeling from the 15th. You get good communication, interview success, talking to important people. It goes much more smoothly. People are listening to you. You get a certain amount of power from the 15th. You'll be moving around a lot as well. New moon, 29th, could be a big change about ambitions as well. Some of you, or you simply get that conversation you have needed. So financially, materially, and general health, by the way, picks up in a very good way after the 15th, and the new moon gives you a complete breakthrough on the 29th onwards. Finally, people are listening to you and important decisions get made. Your siblings could be having issues as well, and 29th onwards, your involvement with them becomes very, very prominent indeed. Let's look at this major conjunction, though, happening in the 4th house on the 18th, 19th, when Saturn conjuncts your 7th lord, Venus. This is really big. Some of you are definitely moving home. Venus is your 7th lord, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend. There's a little bit of stress when you are considering this home move. Some of you see Saturn, particularly from Scorpio moon, has been stressful for the last year or so. 4th house. Now you need to make that big decision domestically that you've been putting off. Now is the absolute moment. January 2025. There needs to be compromises between you and other people, even business situation, business partner. You have to make compromises there, and you have to do this willingly. It's a little bit stressful, but you feel so much peace inside once these domestic issues, work issues, business issues are sorted with other people. Venus is strong, 4th house. People are on your side. Do not fear. But the biggest shift, actually, of everything this month is when your Lord Mongala is going to go retrograde back into the powerful 8th house. The 8th house is a scorpionic house, though it's in Gemini. This is a major tracker for you, because now Mongala will give you the power to make the transformation in your life you've been thinking about, but you've been putting off. As I say, domestically, even career-wise, this is a big shift. Your Lord retrograde, you are going over decisions. You are getting rid of some financial burden, perhaps business burden, big changes, business people, which you've wanted to do for some time. So you're getting a little bit secretive, though. That's the thing. And this could impact relationships after 21st. Share your feelings, concerns, worries with your partner. This is really important. Venus Saturn shows partner is having your side, but you've got to share with them. Don't become secretive. Check the video on my channel, Mongala Retrograde, to get more details of this long-term transformative transit for you. The link is below the video. Now for Scorpio moon sign only, remember, not from Ascendant, from your moon. These are the go days when things go smoother for you, because the moon is in a good angle to your Scorpio moon, and these are the more challenging dates. Take a note of these carefully. For Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius ascendant both, the full moon is happening on the 13th day of Jan, is happening on the 7th house of your relationships and your 1st house of self. Mars, however, isn't there until the 21st. This is good. This gives you clarity in your intimate personal relationships. Of course, full moon is a bit emotional, so conversations with your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, even business partner gets a little bit heightened, but you get much deeper understanding between you. This is certainly favorable. Big change happens, though, when the sun changes sign on the 15th. So prior to the 15th, you've got loads of energy, motivation. Then something switches a little bit. Watch out for it. 15th of January, the sun goes into the 2nd house from your moon or ascendant. This puts a whole new emphasis on your financial concerns. You're worried about finances from the 15th onwards, particularly from Moon Sagittarius, but also Ascendant. But do not fear. After 29th of January, new moon happens with Mercury. You get clarity. You get understanding with business situation, with other people, and you come to a financial decision after this date. Before that, it's a bit worrisome. Relax, let things be. Don't get yourself in a knot concerned about financial security. It's an important moment for your health and diet, because Guru aspects this house full on from your 6th house. You've got to make some dietary changes. Jupiter is your lord, because health needs attention after the 15th of Jan. The Venus-Saturn conjunction in the middle of the month, 18-19, takes place in your third house. Communication with your friendship network circle becomes crucial. You could have conversation with a friend you haven't heard from some time, and interesting information coming forth. But Venus-Saturn shows seriousness, serious thinking, serious considerations of your future, particularly students considering about education. Future becomes really important. Good decisions can be made. Some of you get a fantastic job opportunity now. More income comes. Success in any interview situation, because Venus is your 11th lord of gain and Saturn is so well placed. Third house. This is really good. So you get good conversation, good changes actually, once again, to these health issues happen because you get consultations that help you. So this Venus-Saturn conjunction third house can be very helpful for you indeed. Mongol is going back though into your 7th house after 21st. This is a long-term transit now. So despite these favorable factors, there is still pressure, particularly for business people after 21st. Mongol retrograde, 7th house. There can be confrontations with your spouse again. Business situations, marketplace fluctuating wildly, giving you insecurity. But it's a long-term transit. You can make this work for you wonderfully. Check the video on my channel, Mars Retro, the daily tracker for Sagittarius moon sign in your birth chart. These are the go days when things are much smoother for you because the moon is harmonious to your moon. And these are the more challenging dates. Take a note of these carefully. For Capricorn moon and ascendant, the full moon happens in the 6th house of your chart. This is clarifying for your health issues, for your work stress, and all of the factors that are causing you to become worried. You get clarity, information, and even though it's a little bit emotional, perhaps, with your work colleagues, workspace, clarity helps you to see things much more clearly. Many of your worries can actually disappear because you get deeper understanding. Immediately after that, the sun enters Capricorn on the 15th of January. This is very important. From the moon, it can make you a little bit stressed about your health issues. Even though you've had the information, take it on board. You're going to be fine. But family concerns, domestic concerns become very, very important for moon sign Capricorns after 15th. From ascendant, it's a motivating factor. Suddenly, you are on track with your plans again, and this gives you a feeling of confidence and power after 15th of January. New moon, so important. 29th of Jan, new moon Capricorn with Buddha Mercury. This is helpful to you. Some new plan business-wise, health-wise again, or with your relationship situation comes into being. You are much more confident, much more sure of your direction. And this new moon is a powerful beginning for you, starting on the 29th, going forward into February 25. One issue hanging for you is financial dealings, financial security, because your Lord Saturn, your Lord, moon or ascendant, will conjunct Venus in the 2nd house of your chart on the 18th, 19th of January. This means you're going to make some big financial decision, change something about business situation, financial investment, stock market. Some of you make a huge commitment, make a huge investment, which will be favorable, but you can't put it off any longer. That's the thing. Family concerns, communication with your family become prominent as well. Some of you have got issues around wills, legacies that you've been putting onto the back burner. Face them now. Make things more secure. So this is the time to hone down on your financial security, middle of January 25. Because from the 21st, Mangala goes retrograde back into your 6th house. This is huge. This is so important for you. Mangala in the 6th house, superb. From the moon especially, and from Ascendant. But from the moon, it gives you clarity, power. You get rid of legal concerns that have worried you from 21st. But it's a long-term transit, so you get success, interview, job, lots of things. You get the power to make important changes in your life. Check the video on my channel, Mangala retrograde, because this is a long-term transit beginning on the 21st of Jan 25. The daily tracker from the Capricorn moon. Only don't forget, not ascendant, moon in your birth chart. These are the go-to days when the moon is harmonious to your natal moon. And these are the more challenging days. So take a note of these days very carefully for your diary. For Aquarius, moon and ascendant, the full moon's happening in the 5th house of your chart, highlighting factors about romantic interests and creative interests, and definitely students. It's a very revealing time. It's all about clarifying information you didn't have before. So students get information about the course around the 13th of Jan they didn't have before. If you are in any creative endeavor, you can get inspiration around 13th, and romantic affairs become heightened because important conversations happen. If you have children, it gets a bit heightened, emotional, a bit touchy with them around 13th. Stay calm, it will soon settle down. Take note though, from the moon and ascendant, the best time of Jan are the first 2 weeks up to the 15th, because after the 15th, you lose a little bit of your mojo, as it were. You get a bit anxious about the future. What's happening is Sun, 11th house, is powerful for you. So if you have important conversations, interviews, anything such as this, first 15 days are the best. From the 15th, you're getting a few sleepless nights, a few anxieties, but it's all unnecessary. Actually, spiritually, intuitively, it's a fantastic time, 15th onwards. Students can get a lot of research study done. I mean, marvelous time for students to hone down in your study after the 15th, because it's a little less sociable time. That's the thing. But here's the most important factor. You get intuition about way forward, particularly new moon, 29th of Jan onwards. You get revealed to you some secret information, some of you, or you get information which helps you make the right decision. Why? Because Mercury, favorable to your Lord Saturn, is with this new moon on the 29th of January. And I would say even listen to your dreams after 15th, because the sun in this 12th house gives you information through sleep. So get a little notebook by your bed, even listen to your dreams. They can be very helpful, even clarifying issues for you. But after 29th, many of your worries and concerns begin to dissipate. Of course, the big conjunction, which is shifting everything for Aquarians, is that your Lord Saturn in your first house, of course, from the moon or ascendant, is going to meet with Venus on the 18th, 19th of January. From the moon and ascendant, it's a big moment, particularly for relationships, because Venus is about this, but also for your communication. It's extremely fortunate conjunction, actually, because Venus is the lord of your 9th house of fortune. Some of you get a wonderful business opportunity, financial opportunity, but you're a little bit iffy about it because Sun is not so well placed. Give it time. You don't have to make snap decisions on this Venus-Saturn conjunction. Remember that. 18th, 19th, take your time. Don't make snap decisions. Especially, by the way, students, because Venus is the lord of your education house. Don't forget, aspecting 7th house. Important conversations happen, certainly with your spouse, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend. Again, take it slow. You're very serious, a little bit insecure deep inside now. You don't need to be. Partner is on your side. This becomes clearer to you, actually, now this Venus-Saturn conjunction has occurred. And the big change is happening when Mangala goes back from your 6th house retrograde on the 21st into Gemini, your 5th house. This is a little bit of a going back to make a decision you put off, and this will affect various areas. Concerns about children, concerns about education, concerns about romantic affairs as well. Mars says now is the time to get to grips with any of these concerns by consulting others. That's the thing. Mars aspects K2. Some of you make really big changes in your education course. Children have difficulty, but you get to grips with them. And definitely romantic affairs. It's a big turning point. You should check the video on my channel, Mars Retrograde. The link is below, because this is a long-term transit just starting on the 21st of January. To help you through the month from the Aquarius moon only, not from Ascendant. These are the go days and the more challenging days. The go days are when the moon is in a more harmonious position to your Aquarius natal moon, and these are the more challenging dates. Take a note of them carefully. For Pisces moon and Ascendant both, the full moon on the 13th of Jan happens in the 4th house of your chart. This is going to give you clarity about domestic issues. Finally, you sort some domestic problem. Finally, you get clarity about some home issue, landed interest, property issue that you didn't have before. This is most helpful, and this frees you up to get on with the important work you have to do at this time. And you've got so much work on your shoulders, so much work you're getting on with. It's a fantastic month for getting on with your project's career success. Why? Because the sun is in the 10th house of your chart. The first 15 days, start a new project, start a new job. Some of you start a new enterprise, business-wise. This is giving you success and clarity for the future. Don't waste a moment of this excellent transit, Sun, 10th house. After 15, Sun goes into 11th house. But this is equally successful for you from the moon and Ascendant. In fact, on the new moon, 29th, you get new project off the ground. Some of you get interview, promotion, career success, new opening, changes happen in the workplace. It is very happy changes for you. Suddenly, you are feeling much more comfortable in your working environment. So give all of your energy to your enterprise, business, career. You're going to get success in this month. Of course, from the moon, Sati has begun. We know all about this, and Saturn is in 12th house from either moon or Ascendant, and Venus conjunct Saturn on the 18th, 19th of January in this 12th house. This is about new information, perhaps secret information coming to you from various sources. Workplace, siblings, friendship issues as well. Some secret information comes from these people on the 18th, 19th, near to that time. You've needed this communication badly, but it might give you a little bit of anxiety, some of you. No need for this, because Venus-Saturn are friends to each other. So this Venus-Saturn conjunction particularly affects debt, financial concerns, and expenses. You might have extra expenses once again. This is nothing new from the moon, by the way. During the last 2.5 years, you've had a lot of those, right? Here they come again. But this is the end of it. Soon Saturn moves into your first house from this 12th house. So sort out debt, financial obligation. Things become clearer for you once this is all settled at this Venus-Saturn conjunction. If you are traveling, if you have far distant shores to go to, Venus-Saturn could give you a few ups and downs on those journeys. Take it slow. Take yourself plenty of books or recordings or something to listen to. And actually, did you know this? Venus-Saturn is very good for students, 12th house. Lots of quiet study time. This is excellent. You will make educational progress definitely during this month. And finally, but not least, Mongol is going to go retrograde into the 4th house again after 21st into Gemini. This is once again putting the effort into domestic changes, clarification, decluttering, major decluttering that you have not finished which you started but have not finished, starting from the 21st. But it's a long-term transit. Check the video on my channel, Mars retrograde, Cancer, Gemini. This will give you all the information because this Mars retrograde in your 4th house is a major factor for you, continuing for a few months. The link is below the video. The daily tracker from Pisces moon in your birth chart. These are the go days when things are smoother because the moon is transiting in a good aspect to your natal moon. And these are the more challenging dates. Take a note of the dates carefully for your diary. Check out the predictions for 2025 for all the signs. They're on your screen right now. If you're new to my channel, of course, sub below. Great to have you on board. Goodbye for now, and God bless everyone.